Hello everyone, and welcome to the Prize Corner. This is a show where I review FNaF merch, an incredibly unique concept, I know. I won't be long as I want these videos to be quick and easy to jump into, unlike my usual content, so just know that this is a pilot video, and there may or may not be a lot more of these review type videos coming your way. Youtooz is a vinyl figure manufacturing company who was founded to focus on YouTuber and meme merchandise. But as they have been around for quite a while, they have acquired more and more bigger brands such as Netflix, South Park, and obviously, Five Nights at Freddy's. On January 2nd, 2021, Dawko and Razbowski released Youtooz of themselves featuring FNaF iconography, that being Glitch Trap and Purple Guy Pogging, which they had gotten Scott Cawthon's permission for. Do you think he thought that was funny, or was he disturbed like the rest of us? And revealed in an AMA that same day, Youtooz revealed that FNaF products were on the way, and after being teased and revealed, they were eventually released on December 28th, 2021. The wave consists of Bonnie, Freddy, Chica, and Foxy, the two Fs also being available at GameStop, which was a first for the company. Let's start with Bonnie the Bunny, the first numbered figure in the set. As you'll see with all of the FNaF boxes, they are themed excellently. The background is purple with the shadow of a character being cast on it, and the name matches the color of the character's eyes, which is a nice touch. With most other Youtooz, it's either white or black, so it's a nice theming choice. But maybe that's just because they're the only Youtooz I own with colored eyes. Anyway, the back of the box shows the FNaF 1 office looking through the right door and out the left where the character stands. This is just a template, but I think it's pretty cool. It just gets a little weird sometimes. The inside puts the figures in the FNaF 1 office, and to the side here is another template, one that puts them on the FNaF 1 show stage. Now that is cool. The back, however, is fully original, picturing the game room from FNaF 2 with Bonnie's shadow cast on the floor. Not exactly what classic Bonnie, or even Bonnie in general, is known for, but okay. It looks pretty cool at the least. The quote to the side is nonsense, and the back is his part in the Freddy Fazbear's Pizza theme song, which is unused, so. Opening the box, the last quote is a reference to a Sister Location fan song? Wow, that is just lame. Since Youtooz gives a lot of effort to these boxes, I'd love to rate them separately from the figure itself. And for having some very generic quotes that not only don't relate to Bonnie, but isn't even canon to the series? I'm sorry, this is gonna get a 3 out of 10. Sure, the game area art is good, but do you know who usually stands where Bonnie does? Toy Freddy. Anyway, trust me when I said that these boxes get a whole lot worse. So get ready for that in a later video. Let's move on to the figure itself. Bonnie here is pretty accurate. Sure, the shape isn't exactly spot on, but compared to Funko's offering, yeah, this is amazing. We can not only see that he has the right amount of teeth, but he also doesn't have a weird tumor tail. Oh, Funko, the things you make me praise other people for. His guitar is the newer design, obviously, but at least he has one. Okay, enough Funko comparisons. One thing I love to do to judge a figure like this is to see if they are in the signature man standing pose. And yep, but at least he's got a little more going on with a cute little head tilt and the aforementioned guitar. Better than Funko's patented arms to the side fists. Okay, I'll stop bringing up Funko. Bonnie and Freddy have a strange head shape that isn't exactly like the game's, but I don't really mind this. It feels more like a stylistic choice than a design mistake. All the animatronics have these sunken in dark pits with the colored Youtooz eyes placed in the middle, and I think this is a great way of showcasing this part of their design. And not even just here, with the joints too. The black accents really help feel like they're animatronics, unlike Funko, who just plops the eyes on the suit and just paints silver instead of black. Like, what, is the endo just that fat? Okay, sorry, for real this time. That being said, Bonnie's eyes aren't red, they're magenta, but this is a change I don't mind all that much. The bright red eyes really help any merch of his pop, and I really like it. If I had to complain about anything, and this is a big one for me, I really don't like how the ears look. They are way too small and pose so far away from where they should be. In the game, Bonnie's ears are right next to each other and in the same pose. And I'm okay with a little difference, but this just kinda looks bad. Maybe in the prototype phase they were bigger, but kept falling off or something. That is a problem I seem to always have with Bonnie's, so I get it, but it's not something I can ignore. And with how basic these figures are, Bonnie is actually one of my least favorite because of the ears. With figures so basic and uniformly perfect, one bad decision really dampens my opinion on it. Bonnie isn't a bad figure, just not my favorite. Sorry, buddy. I'd give Youtooz Bonnie a solid 6 out of 10. That may seem harsh, but as a huge rabbit fan, ears are a very important part of the experience. The next numbered character in the set is Freddy. Oh, Oh, sorry, I guess it's actually Chica. Wait, what? For some ungodly reason, Foxy is number 1 in the set. With Bonnie being first, I thought the numbers would reference the positions on stage, but nope. Foxy is next. I can only assume this is because Foxy and Freddy are both available at GameStop, so they wanted them to be together. But why not at least put Freddy first? Or both of them at the end of the series? Now they're just kind of floating in the middle there. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Whatever, let's move on. Foxy the Pirate Fox. The sleeve looks the same aside from the Pirate Fox shaped Foxy in the middle, and of course the color is now yellow and not silver. I'll never understand that naming choice, Scott. Pulling him out, we see that GameStop sticker on full display. How beautiful. The back of the box is not a FNaF 2 reference, which is a good thing, but it's just kind of weird that they gave up on it with Foxy. He is pulling back the curtains of Pirate's Cove, standing behind the out of order sign, his one eye glowing. This is a really well designed scene, and I love how it carries over onto the side. I wish the purple on the front was just this texture. The stars would have made it a lot more interesting. The side quote is actually from Foxy. Yeah, don't get used to that.
Arrgh, you never stood a chance!
And the back is the same as the website.
Arrgh, never underestimate the cunning of a pirate. Or a fox, for that matter.
And opening the top.
Arrgh, so much more spacious in here. I may stay a while.
Well, not his most iconic saying, I do get that it's a joke about the box. Very clever. This box is amazing. One of the best we've ever gotten. Yeah, with the second figure. That makes me sad too. This is the gold standard for Youtooz boxes, and I'd give it a 9 out of 10. The only thing keeping it out of 10 is just the fact that I'm not the biggest fan of Foxy. Isn't by as fun, kids. I just wish Springtrap got that same love. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself again. First things first, man standing? Well, technically, but I don't think I'd call this generic. It's a great pose that honestly fits Foxy a lot better than any of his in-game appearances. He looks rabid, ready to attack. It's a great pose. Foxy is a very large fella, but it was necessary to fit all of his details. The withering on his chest and pants looks alright, if not the most accurate, and I get why they couldn't include the endo in there, but it's just a bit lame without it, especially since Funko included it like 7 years earlier. And below those pants are very chunky, hard plastic endo feet, but I'll get back to that in a moment. His face is spot on, maybe a little bit too big, but it does look great, a lot better than the chunky body. One small thing that I really like about this figure is how instead of just having his eye patch end like in the games, they actually tucked it into a little withered spot. It's a super cute detail. And with that clearly being me grasping at straws, I don't really like Foxy here. He isn't bad or anything. I mean, it's a good quality figure, but as a FNaF stickler and also not really a fan of Foxy, this just doesn't do it for me. Foxy in the games is not a big buff fox guy. He's a tiny, petite, hardly staying together animatronic who's out of order for a reason. And this does not even come close to representing that. I mean, look at Foxy's arm in the games. They are tiny, and that shoulder is hardly hanging on by a thread. But in this figure, they're thick, connected, and all kind of modeled together. And yes, I know that this would not make a very good figure if translated directly. Sure, it would look good, but it would be ridiculously fragile. I mean, look at the Funko figure. It looks incredible, but mine's arm fell off taking him out of the plastic casing. So yes, I get why he isn't very accurate, but I still can't help it. I don't like how he looks. He's more like a shitty fan model that completely missed the point of Foxy and tried to make him a big tough guy like Monty, but it just doesn't work. And for another thing I don't like, but that I totally understand why it had to be this way, the endo parts look like shit, man. This light gray just doesn't look anything like metal. It just looks like he has elephant skin. Like, I get why they didn't make it a chrome silver color, but they could have at least made it a dark gray. That would have looked a bit more accurate, but instead we have cinder blocks for feet. I'm not gonna say this is a bad figure, not at all. If you don't care about the details like I do, then this is pretty good. But with that mindset, the Funko Pop's a fucking masterpiece. If you like this figure, then more power to you. And who knows, if I was a fan of Foxy, maybe this would get a better score. Or a lower one, I'm not sure. Either way, Foxy gets a 4 out of 10. He isn't awful, but when I have a lot more negative than positive to say about him, he's not gonna go that high. Up next is the star of the show, Freddy Fazbear. Sleeve is the same as usual except that the color is blue. While I do like Freddy's bright blue eyes, you can tell how much less threatening they make him look with that back art. Inside, on the back, Freddy is placed in the FNaF 2 prize corner, which aside from the music box and this poster that they remade with the FNaF 1 characters for some reason, it's pretty dull, but the side shows the counter and even a little Freddy plush. Now that's cute. The quote here is,
"Just remember, friends are forever."
Which is a quote from Freddy and AR. I'm just shocked anyone remembered AR gave him a voice. It's extra weird now that the back references the theme song since he has a completely different voice in that. Isn't it kind of weird that Freddy has like 4 canonical voices now? And none of them are similar? I guess let's hold out for a good one from the movie. Opening up the flap shows a much more generic where fantasy meets fun, which, I'll be honest, I've never been a fan of. I'm kind of glad that they've never really brought that back aside from Fredbear and Ultimate Custom Night. It's just such a generic tagline. This box isn't bad. I'd say the art is worse than Bonnie's, but the quotes at least have something to do with Freddy. Not bad, but it's also not really good. Okay, enough negativity. On to the figure. This thing is amazing, and that's coming from someone who doesn't even really like classic Freddy all that much. Like I said before with Bonnie, but to a higher degree, Youtooz Freddy's is stylized to a point where I actually think it looks better than the in-game Freddy. Like obviously the real one fits more for a horror game, but look at any Funko merch, you'll see that he doesn't exactly stand out. He just looks like Freddy, which is fine, but with this guy, he looks like he was designed to be merch. Because he was. Something about the head shape and the big goofy grin and the giant top hat makes him look so lovable. And while I don't like to see them reuse this head too much, especially on characters who it just doesn't fit like Glamrock Freddy, I do really like the look of this thing. And not even just the new head. His pose is man standing, but say it with me now, better than what Funko did! He is waving and singing into his microphone, and it looks great. They could have went for a more iconic look like from the Celebrate poster, but this works perfectly fine. I believe it's a reference to the trailer for the first game, but don't quote me on that. Other than that, there isn't much else to say. I think this figure is pretty great, if not a little boring. But I mean, I have no real idea what they could have done better. I'll give Freddy an 8 out of 10. He is amazing, but at the end of the day, he is still classic Freddy, who just isn't all that interesting. But I love what they did with him. And for the final figure of the wave, Chica the chicken. When I think Chica, I don't necessarily think air vents, but I guess it makes sense that it wasn't a kitchen. Once again, the back quote is from the theme song, and the side is also from the theme song. Pretty boring. I mean, really, not even a let's eat. And the top quote is from Withered Chica? And not even one of the good ones? Like that line is a reference to her wide open jaw, something classic Chica doesn't have. Why not just use the "I was the first" line? That one is iconic and also works for Chica? Whatever, 3 out of 10. I was debating on whether hers was worse or better than Bonnie's, but I think Bonnie's is slightly better. Sure, his quotes are just nonsensical, but at least the art is pretty good. I mean, Chica's hands without the cupcake aren't exactly the most iconic thing in the world. This may sound silly, but this is one of my favorite Youtooz. Chica is one of the most underrated FNaF characters, which seems crazy, but think about it. Scott forgets about her all the time, and when it's her turn to get merch, it always sucks. Except for Sanchi. But thank God Youtooz breaks this standard and gives us the best Chica figure ever released. This thing is perfect. I don't have a single real problem with it. Okay, her toes are the wrong color, but literally everyone gets that wrong, so whatever. I love the way her beak is wide open, giving a big smile, with her eyebrows still giving her that classic Chica clunk. Same with the feathers. I love how big they are. It looks like a crown. Why couldn't Bonnie have gotten the oversized head ornament treatment? And that hand placement. I can't explain it, but that is so Chica. Her eyes looking slightly towards the cupcake really adds to the posing, which, yes, is man standing. But I mean, putting her in a weird pose would kinda be dumb. Under her chin, you can actually see her endo poking out, which you can't see on the others' account of the bow ties, which is something I never really noticed about the original models. But of course, the thing that brings this up so high, the cupcake. It is so detailed. They got the teeth, the eye color, and I love how the frosting is just kind of lifted off the wrapper. It just looks so fluffy. I love it. One thing I'm not a huge fan of is the candle. Instead of even trying to paint it orange, they just left it white, and it looks kind of strange. But never mind that. This thing looks great. but something tells me this wouldn't exactly look as good if it were blown up for a standard release. Which is good! It fits so well in tiny Chica's little hand. This thing is perfect. And maybe I'm crazy, but damn if I don't love classic Chica so much. And this little guy makes me love her even more. 9 out of 10. The only thing that would make this better is an overall cooler design. But this really is the perfect Chica merch. Which is what I would have said if the Sanchi Chica plush didn't exist. But the best figure at least. Great job, Youtooz. And we've reached the end of the review. At the end of every new episode, I'll be putting everything we reviewed into a tier list, giving each item a letter grade based on the score I gave them. Here are the rankings so far. I'm excited to see how this list grows and grows in the future. I'll even put the template down in the description if you want to rank them with me. As for the set, I think this was a great first series for Youtooz. As much as I'm sick of seeing the classics over and over again in merch, I mean, it makes sense why they were chosen to be first. They are iconic, if not slightly boring compared to some of the later animatronics. But I'm sure that Youtooz will get even better the further into the series history they get. And they definitely won't re-release the classic animatronics twice in a couple months. That would be crazy! While I was a little bit harsh early on, most if not all the flaws present in those first two figures completely vanished for the latter. And even with the ones I don't like as much, it's hard to say they aren't quality products. Because they are. And I think that a good score for the whole series is a 7 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Depending on how much I enjoyed making this video, I might be making a lot more of these in the future, so if you liked it, let me know in the comments. And while you're down there, tell me your favorite figure from the set. Was I too hard on Foxy, or are you a Chica fan like myself? And with that, I'll see you on the flip side.
I don't know why Freddy's the one I'm giving up on and making a joke out of it. Why is there blood? There's blood in my Freddy box. I don't know how well that's... You can't see that at all. It looks like a little... Oh, I used to cut myself at some point. I have blood on me. Why am I bleeding? Fuck. Oh, I'm gonna kill myself. I'll be right back. I gotta glue that back together.